Hi, today we're going to be making objects glow. And one of the things I wanted to do for a while was make a lightsaber. And I thought that was the perfect reason to make a tutorial about glowing. I have one other example as well, and the technique will be the same for both of these things. I just wanted to show you how you can use it in two contexts. So I made this hilt. The tutorial that we're doing now is not about designing a lightsaber hilt, but it's kind of the Jedi counterpart to Kylo Ren's. We're just going to be focusing on creating the tubes for the sabers for the center and then these cross guards. Okay, so I'm going to turn these off and we'll get started. I'm going to select this cross guard here. So here's a quick tip. If you go to add a cylinder, I have this selected and I hit add and I add cylinder. I have to zoom out because my world center is up here. If you add a new primitive, it's going to always go to world center. That is, unless you tap on the crossbar and make active your gizmo. Having your gizmo active and now going to add cylinder will always add it in the local center of the object you have selected. And now it's much easier for me to line up my cylinder with these crossguards. It also remembered the rotation because I had rotated that cylinder 90 degrees. It maintains the rotation and the local position of it. So that makes it much simpler for me to just add this in. I'm going to go to my gizmo tool because I want to scale this outward. And that's rather than me using these handles, which I'd have to pick each side and stretch it out. I'm just going to do this. And now we have, so I have one extra here. Get rid of that. So now I'm going to pick this. We'll create our cylinder for the main saber. And let's hit add cylinder. And there we go. I'm going to scale the radius. I'm going to bring this down just even more. We're going to round the top of this, so I just want to make sure that that's completely hidden. So you just have to now decide how tall you want to make your, I'm sure you could look up the exact measurements, but we'll eyeball it. So let's start here with our lower, shorter sabers. I want to kind of make these pointy. I do like that about Kylo Ren's. They're sort of pointed on the lower crossguard. I'm going to come in. So if you watched the tube tutorial from last, you will know this. You need to come in here, uncheck cylinder topology. That will give us access to the division Y field. Lower division X to 4. And let's bring down division Y somewhere in here. You need a lower division Y to be able to access post subdivision 5. If it's too high, then automatically your post subdivision will drop to 4. And even if you try to pull it up, it'll get denied. You'll snap back. So lower this division Y and then you can bring up post subdivision to 5. Doing this also it decreases your sort of radius thickness. So I'm going to bring that back up. And now let's look at this from the side and we'll decide how pointy we want to make this. Maybe all the way down to 1. Okay, let me try to scale this out a bit more. Yeah, I like that. Okay, and then maybe radius back up just a tiny bit. Okay, I like that. And then we need to do the rounding for the main saber as well. Select this. Come up to your ellipsis menu, your 3-dot menu. Same thing, let's uncheck topology, lower this to 4, lower this a bit, and then we'll bring post subdivision up to 5. And now if we look at it head on, we can just decide how round we want to make it. I think something like that is fine. And then the radius here, bring that back up. Okay, so this is our basic shape. Is that too tall? I can't tell. I feel like we'll go with that. So now we just need to color these two items. Let me make sure I pull these out of there. Put them over here. Our other one. Okay. You can check mark these both if you want to color them at the same time. I had already decided ahead of time that I wanted this green one. So I found this color. If you want to follow along, you can tap the hex value here. 65FF4D is the color I'm using. And I'm just going to hit paint all. That colors both of them. So the next thing we want to do is come up to our materials tab. Currently we're on opaque. We want to set both of these to additive. You can see, let me toggle that back off. It becomes sort of transparent and you can see that it is a more glowing color. But that's not everything. We want to come down to always unlit and just tap that. Let me toggle that on off. You can see that even turns on even more glow here. The other thing is that you want that outer glow, that sort of emanating glow, and that would be under your post process. So come up here to post process. Let's turn on post process. And then the key is coming down to bloom, turning on bloom. So I'm just going to, I think I had the value set at 0.200. The other thing is, let's take a look at a picture of a lightsaber. You can see that in the center, there's a wider, hotter core, and that's an effect that I also want added to this. And that's easy to do. You come up to your main saber, and let's hit clone up here, and you can see already that it gets much hotter. So the way that we can create that is just decrease the radius, create that center core, and then I can clone even one more time and do another one, even shrink that side even more. It's hard to see. I mean, you could turn off the main one, first one, and then play with, like that. Turn on our main one again. Okay. The only other thing is you want to come to the top, and let's lower the height of these. I'm going to adjust the roundness to be a little rounder at the top. Same thing here. Let me solo it. We'll round the top of that as well. Okay. Unsolo. And that's what I'm looking for, is that white center surrounded by like green glow. So we just need to do the same thing for the crossguard hilt sabers. And that is this one, I believe. Yes. Okay. So I can clone either here or up here. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to do it twice. I'll turn off this one for a moment. Come up to this one. We're going to lower the radius. I'll turn on my gizmo and bring this in just a bit, like that. And we'll bring on our cloned version. We'll reduce the radius on that one, even this one even further. Lower this. Okay. So, I mean, that's the effect. It's pretty simple. And like I said, really it's just a matter of deciding how much intensity you want out of this. That kind of looks cooler even more, but play with it. Radius is sort of like the spread. The threshold is the clamping. It'll clamp down if you get to a higher number. Let's see what it looks like at 3. So 3 clamps down a lot. So you can play with all those things. So I have it at, let's do just an even 0.27. And we get that white core, but a lot of green glow around it. All right. Cue lightsaber sounds right now. Yeah. So one other example, and let's do this, is this lightning effect. If you're wondering how I did that, I just turned on tube, went to my curve tool, and just did a bunch of freehand, being real jittery with my hand movements to create that. Then I just brought down, I turned on the 2 modes of the radius, so I had a control that I could taper the end here. And then if I turn off that, you can see I have this almost branch-like. It's very thick on one end, tapers down. And then I just did the same application. I colored it, and I switched it from opaque to additive and turned on always on lit. And then that's it. So yeah, 2 very cool uses of that. And it's unlimited. There's always a need for glow. Hopefully you found that helpful. Thanks for watching. Keep making things, and I'll see you next time.